When you are in the middle of a rebuild, I think you sort of are a contender. To me, that is the definition of a contender. They probably don't have all the pieces put in place where they want them yet, but this draft could change that. They have the first and 9th picks, which I assume by now most people know. They will make some really fascinating decisions. I was on Waddle and Sylvie's show about 2 weeks ago, which is the afternoon show on ESPN 1000 in Chicago, sort of the best finger on the pulse of what the Chicago fans want of anybody. And I really got the sense they want the Bears to take a defensive player, like a pass rusher.
At 9?
Well, you could probably trade back and do that.
That's what they should do.
If they're interested in doing that, they could probably trade back and do that. If Rome Odunze, or God help us, Joe Alt, is sitting there at 9, the Jets should be trying to trade up and get Joe Alt for sure. And if Odunze is there, I'm guessing a lot of teams might trade up there.
I think you're going to see the Bears move down. They pick at 9 and then not again until 75. That's what I think they're likeliest to do, and get a defensive player in the middle of round 1.
My point is, I think you're making a little bit of a distinction without a difference. I think you're walking into something like a team on the verge of being a legitimate contender, depending on how quickly the quarterback gets up to speed. And the quarterback, let's call it Caleb Williams now, because we all know that's who they're taking, is walking into the best situation of any number 1 overall pick I can remember. Like, I can't think of one in the history of the sport that's probably been better, but I can't think of one in recent memory. Can you?
No. How close are they to Green Bay or Detroit?
I mean, this is a cop-out answer. How good is the quarterback going to be? Like, if you told me the quarterback is going to be real good, I would tell you they're right there.
Are you sure they're in better shape than Minnesota?
No, I'm not sure of that at all. But neither one of those teams has a quarterback. We know who the Bears' quarterback is going to be. We have no idea who Minnesota's quarterback is going to be. If they're in way better shape than Minnesota if Minnesota's quarterback is Sam Darnold.
No doubt.
Sam, I'm sorry to say it. You know I love you. But the reality is we ruined him, and he's not coming back from that at this point. It's become obvious.
So you think the answer to this question is both. They are a ready-made contender and still in the midst of the rebuild.
But I think if a rebuild goes on a scale of 1 to 10, meaning like when you're starting it, you're 1, and if everything goes right, a Super Bowl contender, you're 10, I think there's something like 7.
Oh, wow.
You don't?
I think they're closer to a 3 or a 4.
Why do you say that?
Mostly because of the constitution of the division. That's my biggest thing, because Caleb Williams is going to have to be really good in order to play over the next 2 or 3 years in that division, because Green Bay and Detroit are the 2 best teams in it moving forward, in my opinion.
Well,
it's a tough place to be.
So let's say, and someone sent me this note for Thursday night, I agreed with it. The NFC North, I believe, shapes up to be the best division in the NFL.
That's right.
That's fine, and that's fair. But look, I mean, you're drafting Caleb Williams because you think he's going to be a superstar, right? You think you're going to have a great quarterback. Maybe not immediately, but pretty soon. These guys, the ones who turn out to be great, tend to be great in their second year. Joe Burrow was great in his second year. Patrick Mahomes was great in his second year, which technically was his first year starting. Lamar Jackson was the MVP of the league in his second year. If you're only a year away from Caleb Williams being that level of good, this defense was way better last year. Second half of the season,
number 1 defense
was pretty good. They've added pieces to that. They used that the second round pick that we're talking about them not having is because they traded it for Montez Sweat, who's a better defensive player than they were ever going to get with a second round pick in this draft. So I think they have a chance to be really good, but it's all going to depend on the quarterback.
If I said the over-under right now at 8.5 wins for them.
This year?
2024. Right now. How would you lean?
What'd they win last year? 6?
7. They finished the year really strong.
Yeah.
And then they gave their quarterback away.
Yeah, but I hear you, but I think they're going to go over.
You think that's a winning team? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do a sandwich bet on that one. I think they'll finish 4th in the division this year.
You think they're going to finish 4th?
I think Minnesota is going to be better.
Who are you projecting Minnesota's quarterback?
I think they'll move up and get Mayor McCarthy. That's what I think is going to happen this week. In which case, I think that person is plugged into a much better offensive environment than Caleb Williams.
Well, we had a good argument about this on Get Up, of which I was not part last week, between Louis Riddick and Mel Kiper. And what I was really happy about with that was that America got to hear what I get to hear all the time, which is on all of our calls, Mel and Louis just go at it. They are 2 opinionated dudes, and they will go at it with you on their opinions. But Louis Riddick strongly agrees with you. that whichever quarterback winds up in Minnesota is in great shape.
That's the spot.
And Mel believes the same of Chicago. The biggest differentiator there to me is the coaching. So how much confidence do you have in Shane Waldron putting together a great offense for the young quarterback in Chicago relative to Kevin O'Connell, who is a former quarterback and is a quarterback-centric coach?
Yeah, he's excellent.
And got the best out of Kirk Cousins and others. You know, the supporting cast in Minnesota is ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. No rookie has ever walked into a situation with receivers and tackles as good as they have. I mean, they have all of the building blocks in place for a rookie to take off.
I wasn't even planning to go here, but is Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver in the league?
If Justin Jefferson is healthy, if you give me 17 games of his, which we did not get last year, I don't know who's better.
How about Chase and T. Higgins?
Or Hill and Waddle, or Brown and Devontae Smith in Philly, but Justin Jefferson is so good, like Hall of Fame good early in his career. They've got Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill as the tackles. You've got the head coach and the OC and Josh McCown, by the way, as your QB coach. It's like the perfect infrastructure for a rookie quarterback.
Cam, who wins more games this year, the Bears or the Vikings this year?
The Bears, but I think it'll be like 8 wins versus 7 wins or something. I think they're going to be bunched close, and I think the Packers and Lions are going to be bunched close, but I think it's going to be Lions, Packers, Bears, then Vikings.